Good morning. Yeah, good. Just
Good.
sending out the tweets and stuff now, so sorry.
No worries. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever
Yeah,
you are.
yeah. Nice and early for me for a Sunday.
Yeah, that's
Good
good.
stuff.
It is early evening where I'm at.
Yeah, it's not too bad, eh? Like 6 p.m. Eastern
Uh,
time.
yeah, I'm actually an hour before that, so it's 5 p.m. my time. Um, so there's still a lot of the day left, in my opinion.
Yeah, plenty of time left.
Plenty of time left to get into some trouble.
Yeah, right. Nice. Well, we got some more people coming in, so we'll give it like a couple of minutes before we kick off, and then yeah, that's easy. So
Yeah, for sure.
the more people coming in, is it just going to be yourself today, or is JJ coming on as well?
I'm gonna check in with JJ. I'll drop him a reminder. Um, if n- he's been working weekends, this time of year is pretty busy for him. What he does for his day job, because he works in wireless communications, and it's just kind of a busy time of year with all the other things going on. But if he can't join, no worries. I'll fill in for both of us. So let me just double check with him.
Yeah, all good, all good. All right, sweet.
If not, this is being recorded, so he could just um, listen to what I say, and then he can send out corrections if I make any missteps. He's really good about that.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy. I actually didn't realize with these Twitter spaces when they're recorded, Twitter only holds them for about a month, I think. So they end up getting wiped. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to record it and get on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some limitations when it comes to the Twitter Spaces. Um, I know there's ways to set up some of these spaces so that you could actually stream it to multiple, stream it to Twitch and YouTube and Twitter at the same time. And I think that's something that we might want to look into on our end for things that we're going to be doing in the future. It's just to have them all on multiple platforms at the same time. And also for us, like we really, me especially, like I don't mind doing the voice AMAs, but I really enjoy doing the video ones. And the reason why is because I think for me anyways, it's important for people to know who I am and what I stand for. So I'm just all about it. Like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk as two human beings or three human beings, whatever we are in a space, and let's just have a conversation. Let's build a connection and a relationship as what we are. So I really enjoy that aspect of it. And I love learning. I love learning about different projects. Because I think one of the things that brought all of us on our team together is that we were all investors in other projects. So we were always sharing and kind of trying to find the next gem, things like that, and kind of sharing these between us. And it's kind of evolved, and the community has grown out of that. And we kind of decided to start our own project because of a lot of the projects that we were investing in. They were just either poorly managed or straight up scams, right? I mean, rug pulls and honeypots and all that stuff. And then they're still happening, and that's the unfortunate part of the space. So for us, it was really important to kind of build something, by the community for the community, with legitimacy, with transparency, and with honesty. So that's kind of where we come from. And I know that you all over at BODA, like you kind of have a lot of the same mentalities when it comes to the crypto space, and I really appreciate that. And I always want to align myself with like-minded people, and good people in the space, so that we can kind of do our best to um, amplify our voices to elevate each other in a way so that we can rise above all the garbage in the space and really drown them out with these are the good guys, these are the good projects. So appreciate any opportunity to talk.
No, that's easy, man. Yeah, doing the video stuff's really tricky too, because we've been looking at it for a while, because you got to get the cross-platform thing. You can do it on like Streamlabs, OBS, and stuff, but then the whole Twitter Space thing, like Telegram does video, but then Discord, if you try and do video, it caps your voice chat, so you can only get about 25 people in the voice chat if you have video on. So stuff like that. So, but that's why we just end up splitting it up. We end up doing like video AMAs separately to Twitter Space AMAs and stuff. It's kind of how it rolls at the moment. But now we've got more people coming in, so might as well just kick off the AMA now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It's recorded, so we can always share it out. And it's Saturday too, so people are probably out at the beach or mowing their lawn or doing their chores. So hopefully having a good time. Hopefully getting out there, maybe seeing a movie, getting off the internet. So that's always fine too. They can come back and listen to this later.
Yeah, easy. All right, mate. So well, welcome. So we got Carlos here from DiversiFi Token. Now, it's DiversiFi now, isn't it? Or is it still DiversiFi Blue?
Well, yeah. So let me give you a little bit of background on DiversiFi as an ecosystem. I mean, we're more than just one token. DiversiFi Blue is the first token in our ecosystem, though, and that is our Blue Chips reward token. That has a custom-built smart contract that automatically rotates through 5 blue chip assets: Binance Pegged, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon Matic, Polkadot, and Avalanche. So those rotate around every 6 hours until it completes a cycle, and then it'll do a basically round robin. It mixes them up and then starts the cycle all over again. But that's just the first token in our ecosystem. We are actually starting. We have just begun the next contract work on the next token in our ecosystem. We can't give away too many details about it, but overall, what we're planning on doing is we're trying to build a premier rewards token ecosystem that will stimulate diversification of DeFi portfolios quickly and easily without any thought, right? Like, just I want to be able to set it and forget it, hold it and forget it, and allow the passive accumulation, the passive income to fully diversify my portfolio over time. So DiversiFi Blue is token number 1. Those are our blue chips, top 20 market cap, 5 of the top 20 market cap assets out there. And then we're going to release 4 more tokens like DiversiFi Blue with different market sectors. So, you have your blue chips and you have things like DEX tokens and Metaverse and gaming and all the other different market sectors, right? So we're planning to build in, it's almost kind of like risk management, right? So when you're taking a look at like traditional investing strategies and applying those to the crypto space and how you build a really diverse portfolio, it comes with this idea of choosing, low risk assets. Now, yes, crypto is highly volatile as a market overall, but there are traditionally some low risk assets like your blue chips. Then you've got your higher risk assets, kind of like your moonshots, the gaming and Metaverse. It's still kind of higher risk because I don't think there's anyone that's really kind of got it together yet, but it's coming. So really waiting for those projects to kind of, pop out as the one that's going to be the leader in the space. Those are a little bit higher risk, but you still kind of want to make a play on them. And then you got your, medium risk assets like, any kind of DEX token, any kind of DEX swap token. So those are kind of the strategies that we're using. We're building 5 different market sectors with different risk profiles, and allowing the community within our ecosystem to be able to select which market sector they want to hold diversified tokens in, and then receive those 5 underlying assets within each market sector. But the kicker is we plan on releasing a mothership. code name is DiversiFi X. That's not going to be the name, so don't create any fake contracts out there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing is we have to be very careful about what we say, because it's so easy for someone to spin up a fake, you know, honeypot contract if we give
Yep.
any names away before we actually, you know, roll it out, right? So, but DiversiFi X is our mothership token, and that's going to reward holders of that token all 5 DiversiFi assets, and then all 25 underlying rewards. So at the end of our roadmap, someone can come to DiversiFi, choose what market sector they want to invest in, or just say, you know what, I want to just hold one token, forget about everything else. You do all the work. I'm going to hold DiversiFi X and receive 30 unique crypto assets, you know, basically in a rotating rotating array every 30 hours. So that's kind of the overall vision of our super utility, that being quick, easy, painless, set it and forget it portfolio diversification in the DeFi space. But we have bigger plans other than that, because there's always going to be a need for utility when it comes to the tokens that anyone releases, right? So we're having internal talks on different products that we can release within the space that will provide additional value for not only DiversiFi holders, but potentially utility for the tokens, whether it's in the Web3 space or in the Web2 space. And a lot of that's going to be dependent on the partners that we've aligned ourselves with. That's kind of a general overview. I don't know if you want me to get into more specifics of some of those other items, but I'm happy to do so.
Yeah. Well, that's easy. Also, just should mention too, if anyone's in the space and wants to ask a question, you got to press the request button, and you'll be put in a queue. So, and it'll be up to you, Carlos, if you want to take questions in between or just wait to the end. But I just thought I'd mention that, because some people are kind of unaware of how spaces work. But that's the thing with what you guys have set up. So initially, now your current token that's out now. So what it does is it does the 5 blue chip tokens, which is really a really good sort of mechanism and incentive in a way. Like your token is diversify, so you diversify your rewards. Especially right now, like we're in a bit of a bear market situation, and to obviously get your Bitcoin or your ETH or was it your Polygon, your BNB, sorry, your DOT and your AVAX, right? Your Avalanche.
Yeah.
Getting those, so then you split them around. So when they're all fluctuating, things like that, and then once obviously later on, when the bull market starts to come back up again, you'll be holding all these different assets. So you kind of take the because you take sort of the guesswork out of it, you just take the effort out of it, really, don't you?
Right.
Like, yeah, you don't have to keep buying them separately. You just kind of hold diversify, and then you just sit on it. And
right. And this is actually a perfect time to start diversifying your portfolio, because of being in a bear market where there's bears on bears in this market right now. And for you to be just from holding DiversiFi Blue to receive those blue chip assets at these prices, these are not the prices that they're going to be in September and October. This summer is going to be rough. There's no question. This is going to be a bloody summer for the stock market and for the crypto market. But that doesn't mean we're not going to see a bull run in the fall. And always we see that April bump, right? So like right now, accumulating at these prices just from holding is a really smart way to set yourself up for the fall for next year. And that's kind of really what we're building, is like passive accumulation. You don't have to think about it. It's almost like I'm going to hold this, set it aside. I'm not going to worry about it. Check back in on it, and see what I've collected, right? So, and also a lot of us on the team, we spend a lot of our time researching new projects, looking for new plays and things like that. And sometimes for the sake of that, you kind of forget about oh well, maybe I should have some safer plays, right? Because you're always kind of looking for the high risk, high reward. So another utility for DiversiFi is you know what, I'm just going to hold this. This is going to be my earth bag, right? Where I can just set it, forget it, let it do its thing, while I spend my time researching all the moonshots that I want to go after, and kind of make those risky plays, knowing that I've got a little bit of a nest egg set aside in DiversiFi and all those blue chip tokens that I can come back to if I need it, if something that I'm chasing after kind of falls apart, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think what people, and obviously you educate your community on this, and people who are listening now should be aware that even though it's the BEP20 version of Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, and even the other tokens, they obviously are able to be converted back to the native token. So holding Bitcoin, for example, your BEP20 Bitcoin, you can convert that back to the native Bitcoin, which, like a lot of, especially the old Bitcoin maxis, but they believe, eventually the price of Bitcoin is going to get to over 100,000. Or I mean, the dream is Bitcoin to get to 1 million or something like that, right? So I mean, having that asset and then being able to convert that to its native Bitcoin, for example, is just another bonus, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And and one of the things that we're going to continue to explore with our partners is, we really want to do some additional features and utilities for the community, and a lot of that's going to come from cross-chain bridges. We really want to explore cross-chain rewards and fiat off ramps and DApps and things like that. That'll add, even if it can be utilized by other projects, like if we can build it and make it like solid, we're happy to share that too. But we have partnerships with a lot of great, for me, I think right now partnerships are key because of so many, you know, so many bad projects in this space. If we can align ourselves with the legitimate projects to bring each other up to the surface, above the noise, I think that's only going to benefit us in the long run, especially now when we are in a bear market. Marketing is basically worthless. Paying for marketing right now is kind of like just throwing money into a hole because nobody is really wanting to take a risk right now, right? A lot of the
Yeah,
assets are moving into, they're moving into stable coins or they're being pulled out of the market because people are scared, right? So it's important now to develop those partnerships to get through this summer, right? To work with people that you like, people that you trust, projects that you trust, and develop. So our focus right now is working on our roadmap. That's why we're focused on bringing out the next token in our ecosystem, and then follow that up with the next one. We'll probably release the mothership before we release the third one, to be honest, because DiversiFi X adds built-in buying pressure on the tokens underneath. So we want to get that out as well. And then we have partnerships with Super Oracles, which is a high-powered oracle and chain that is coming. That is just gonna it's gonna make some waves in the space, to be honest. And we're really excited to be partnered with them. So definitely check them out. And we're working on 2 NFT collections. One of them is a DiversiFi specific NFT collection, and the other one is through partnership with a musician friend of mine, Blue, who's worked with. He's a producer, singer songwriter. He's written songs and produced music for Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato, the Jonas Brothers, Hanson, Meatloaf. Like he's been all over the industry. Had songs on the Spider-Man soundtrack, things like that. But he's doing a concert in Boston in August that we're sponsoring, and we're working with him on building an NFT collection to celebrate this anniversary of his album, and he's doing all the artwork. But things like that, we're building models for how we can partner with future brands, future artists, future musicians in the future to help them, kind of launch, market, and deploy NFT collections and projects. Um, but for us, when it comes to NFTs and NFT collections, um, my real motivation on that is utility and adoption. And the way we're going to get there is by providing real world utilities to these NFTs. What is the underlying value proposition other than the price of the NFT? What am I getting out of this other than just cool artwork or a cool PFP? What else does it give me access to? So for us, we're all about real world utility, Web3 utility, but really trying to bump up the value of the NFT with something else. So there's a lot of other real world Web2 businesses and partners that I'm in meetings with to bring them into the space so that we can provide some utility for our NFT holders and any additional Web2 partners that we work with. So I come from Web2, but I live in Web3, and I'm trying to merge the two. I'm trying to merge and build a bridge between IRL and URL so that we can have more adoption to the space. And a lot of that's going to come with our on-ramps too, like breaking down the barriers of entry. We have high barriers of entry to DeFi, so we need to create more ways to get from fiat to crypto or fiat to NFTs and then back to fiat, right? As much as the proponents of the DeFi space want to avoid fiat, we're a bit tied to it right now, especially when it comes to adoption.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what you said, like the transition. I mean, even trying to get fiat providers with crypto, that's still kind of in the middle, isn't it? Like, and then they only do the big ones. And that's a whole nother that's a whole nother topic to get into that. But 100% know what you're saying. So I don't know, do you want to share a little bit about yourself though too? Because where your background, because you're like in the I'm all
over the map, man. I've done a lot in my life, and I'm proud of it. I've been an actor, director, writer, producer for 18 years professionally. I've been in movies and TV shows and mostly stage acting. And I've also ran a nonprofit for 8 years. I was really big in a big player in the micro philanthropy movement in 2010. Really drew a lot of attention to like the idea of really drawing attention to the they would call it small donation, but I don't like the word small. But it's like the people who were crowdfunding and kind of donating like $5-10 and to try to support projects or try to support charities. I was shining a lot of light on that in 2010. In 2011, I started a Twitter trend called Cyber Giving Monday. That was the inspiration for Giving Tuesday, which in 2012 took off and now is a multi-billion-dollar day of giving. And then just in terms of my business, the business side of things, I've worked for a very large live events company for 17 years. And this has provided me a lot of connections and experience working in live events, working with musicians and music venues and things like that. So I've kind of done everything, and I draw a lot of inspiration from my real motivation is my mom, because I did not have, I don't come from a wealthy family. I was basically raised by a single mom with 5 sisters, and we spent a lot of time living in like a 1-bedroom apartment, and I always remember all the sacrifices that she made. So everything that I do, I do because of her, to not to make her proud of me, but to thank her for all the sacrifices she made so that I can get to where I am today. So I'm always driven by my heart. I live and I give and I lead by my heart. I'm a very altruistic person. I'm a very idealistic person. I have visions about this space that probably don't align with many people because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the people, and I'm in it for the community, because I think that's where the true power is. That's where the life-changing aspect comes into play, especially when we live in such a disconnected world, where everything is focused on the individual. I think Web3 has the power to bring people together in a way that, the advent of social media did until it got ruined. So I think if we can bring some humanity back to crypto, back to Web3, if we can remember that the other person on like you, Billy, on the other side of this device is a real person who's had to deal with some real life issues, and if we can talk about those things and relate, like that can change the space for good. And that's kind of what drives me. It's the people in my community and the people in the whole Web3 community that I haven't even met yet. That's what drives me, and I want to build something for them that is going to be lasting and potentially life changing. I'm not trying to make a bunch of millionaires. If that happens, great. But if I can make it easier for someone like my mother, who might have, like, if crypto was around when I was a kid, if she was putting $20 a week into DiversiFi Blue, for example, just to set herself up for later in life. If I can help people like that to be able to, potentially buy groceries or pay their rent so that they can survive, then I will have deemed this as a success in my mind.
Yeah,
That's where I come from.
Yeah, and that's what crypto, I mean, that's what originally Bitcoin started off at anyway. It's about giving the power back to the people and all that good stuff as well, which is exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, when you talk about your mother and stuff, I think all of us sort of have that thing too. We want to give back to our parents for all the hard yards, especially if we put them through some stuff when we were younger. So yeah, that's like I said, that's why we're working together and stuff as well, and very similar mindset with what we're doing with our projects as well. And I think people have got to realize too that it is a long-term game. I mean, like, for example, going back to Bitcoin, I mean, that thing's been around since 2009, but it only became mainstream sort of 2017. So it's still, it's still new. And with our projects and stuff, and yourself, like, you only launched back in April. So I mean, there's still a lot to get through and what to go through, right? So that's something that, yeah, again, people have got to start to realize with all of our projects, is that it's definitely a long-term thing. And yeah, it's one of those things too, right? Like, it's, we definitely want to help people make money, but it's not the core of, like, of what we're doing, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of people in this space just sort of go, well, we just want to get our $1 million and get out, like that sort of stuff, when it's really not, it's not beneficial for everyone, right?
Right. I mean, because the potential of the space is much greater than a quick get in and get out. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like you said,
oh, you still there?
Unfortunately, a lot of the people that are taking the power are the ones that are just trying to make a quick buck and scam people out of their money, right? And we have to do this now. Like, I keep saying this, like, the legitimate projects in the space, the honest people in the space, the ones with integrity, who operate with transparency, who are honestly trying to build something for the people, this is the time to take control of the DeFi space. Because if we continue to let these projects, rug pull folks or just straight up scam them, we're going to see increasing regulations, and the space is going to be taken over and controlled by big business and corporations. And then we're just going to have a repeat of what everybody's sick of to begin with, right? And I know that's kind of a bit of an idealistical way of looking at it, but I think that's the potential of the space. If it's going to truly be a space for the people, then we need those honest people in this space to really make it what it's supposed to be. Because otherwise, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to be going.
They're going to take it away from us, and then
yeah,
all that work we're trying to do, just
And we're going to be getting our BODA from Bank of Australia swap.
yeah, right.
Or Bank of America swap. So.
So what else have you guys? So you've mentioned earlier about your other plans a little bit, and obviously you can't say too much because you got to keep surprises. But what else you got coming up? Sort of, I don't know. This weekend you got something coming up tomorrow, I think.
Yeah. So a lot of the things that we're doing right now is We're just kind of spending on contests. We're spending on rewarding back the community. So we're doing a lot of giveaways, a lot of contests within our Telegram community. Tomorrow we're doing a poker tournament. We've been doing poker tournaments every Sunday for the past few weeks. Those are fun. We do a little bit of a buy-in just to get some movement on the chart. But then we give prizes away in either BNB or NFTs or this week we're doing a 2 BNB giveaway for first place. And then I just thought it was a good idea to kind of support some other projects out there. So we're going to do some Farmer Doge, like $150 of Farmer Doge. But I'm going to start adding some additional projects in the space that we, are either partnered with or friendships, or we have friends, or our community is pretty diversified in different communities as well. Like we're going to pick a few different other communities, do some buy-ins of those tokens, and then use those for prizes to give to those folks. Just because right now it's a really tough time for everybody in the space when it comes to marketing, and I'd rather just spend it on helping other projects out right now, as opposed to putting out ads out there that are not going to actually move any numbers for anybody. So we're doing that, and we're also doing a lot of Twitter Spaces. I've been running 2 weekly Twitter Spaces. One of them is every Tuesday we talk about NFTs, and we bring on different guests from different NFT projects across all the different networks. We had some representation the week before from Algorand, BSC, Ethereum, Matic, and we're kind of just we're bringing in all these devs, these artists, these collectors, even things like this coming Tuesday, we have Micah from lazy.com, which is really just it's an NFT gallery site. Like it basically becomes a way for you to display your NFT collection on a single link across multiple networks. And it is one of Mark Cuban's companies. So there's, it's one of those things that he's been really interested in. I've been kind of using Lazy for a long time, and every once in a while, Mark Cuban will retweet one of the things I do when I talk about Lazy, and so I decided to reach out and got connected, and so we're gonna host Micah. He's gonna be one of our guests on Tuesday, and we also got Scott from UniFriends, who's just an awesome dev. And we got the Flues, Aranito from Flues.trade, the Flues Inc. community. So that's another, probably people are familiar with Flues.trade in terms of a swap, but they also have an NFT program, as well as a bunch of other stuff in the works. So those have been really successful. It's just helpful to kind of make connections within the space, not just in crypto, but also in the NFT side of things, kind of bridging those worlds together, from projects to collectors to developers to artists to whatever it is, and just to kind of get together and have a conversation, because people are interested on both sides of the fence, but sometimes it's nice to just have a conversation, not necessarily a shill, but more of a conversation, right? So those have been really successful. We do have the concert that we're promoting in Boston in August 27th, at the Sinclair. And we will be on site for that, doing activation for helping people set up their MetaMask wallet if they want, and things like that. And then I will be attending Consensus 2022 in Austin, Texas, in a couple weeks. That's a big convention, crypto NFT convention that is hosted by CoinDesk. So I will be attending. My buddy James from Super Oracles will be here as well, and I'll be in the. They have a podcast booth, and so I'll be in the podcast booth for about 10 minutes. I think on June 11th, but I'll probably share details when that's finalized. So we're trying to get out to as many real world events as possible, because I think that is where the true growth is going to happen. For all projects, it's going to come down to community. It's going to come down to word of mouth, which is the most successful type of marketing. Word of mouth. When someone tells you this project is something you should invest in, or if they take it even a step further, I want you into this project, so I'm going to teach you how to download MetaMask, how to get BNB into your wallet, and how to swap it on an exchange like BODA Swap, right? So that is like the next level of word of mouth. It's word of mouth education, right? And I think that is going to lead to future adoption in this space and future growth. Because we have a lot of projects out there, but it's the same people right now. And we need to expand the amount of people within the space and the community to educate them, to bring them in, to teach them about what's good, what to look for, how to be safe, and what's bad, what's to avoid, and don't click on that link or share your seed phrase, right? So things like that are what's going to happen. We're hopefully gonna start building some educational materials, or potentially aligning ourselves with someone who's actually doing really good stuff when it comes to educational materials.
Yeah, nice. Oh, it's really, really good stuff. And like you said, educating people in real life. I think I might have the stats wrong, but I think it's like 5% or something. It's a really small amount
I think I
of the
lost you,
entire
Billy.
global
Oh,
population.
sorry.
Oh, you can hear me now? Sorry, it's probably my internet because I'm in Australia and our internet is garbage. Can you hear me now? Am I still here?
Someone's trying to
Request?
no.
If anyone's got questions.
Yeah, if anyone's got questions, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I lost you for a second there.
No, it's all good. It's probably my internet, so that's all right. Yeah, so I was just saying, like, I think there's only about 5% of the population or something like that in the entire world that's sort of using crypto or getting into crypto. So, yeah, there's still a huge amount of people out there that don't really know it or just can be educated about it. So it's a really good move to go out there and go out and do the groundwork. So that stuff is awesome. Yeah, so if my internet connection's good again, if anyone's got questions, press that request button so you can ask Carlo here any questions while he's here, while we're live.
Yeah, and we'll wait for some questions, but yeah, I just want to go off of that a little bit. I mean, yeah, 5% of the population of the world is into crypto or potentially, NFTs or Web3. So there is a lot of room for adoption, but we have to also take into consideration that there are populations in the world that can benefit from DeFi, whether it's because of their national currency being, pretty much unusable, things like that can really change a lot of people's lives in a really good way. But we need to find ways to either get them access, especially in some countries, we need things that are deviceless access, right? So what are the technological improvements that we can provide to give people some way to benefit from the space without having to have a cellular phone, right? A mobile phone or iPhone or anything like that. So those are important aspects to kind of keep in mind when it comes to adoption, because there's a lot of people who don't have access to those types of things. So it does become a little bit of there's a disparity there, a technological disparity, or there's also the financial aspect of it. Some people can't access it because they don't have the liquidity to do so. And there's a lot of underserved populations and underserved communities that I think if we can go into some of those communities to educate, but then also find ways to build in grant programs to provide access or to provide a startup for it, right? To give people a leg up, that is going to change the space dramatically. But that is more of a bit of an altruistic and ideological viewpoint that I have. But I know that it is possible. But we need more people who believe that in the space, and we need more people taking action to do that. There's a lot of people in the world that could do this right now, but they don't, and that's the problem. And hopefully, in some way, I can start. In some way, we can start, right? So, this is a long-term project for me in a lot of ways, and it's not about the day-to-day gains for me. It's about the long-term vision, the incremental change that we can make to the space and to people's lives. And it's about a long-term legacy that we can leave behind. So I'm, I have a lot of ideas and visions on how to achieve that. And, some people might think I'm a little crazy or too much of a dreamer, but those who know me understand where I'm coming from and when I put my mind to something and when I work hard at it, I'll get as close to it as possible, if not all the way there. So, um, there's other things that I'm doing on my side, that I can't really speak to right now, but I will say that I I'm taking so many meetings, with a lot of different people in a lot of different industries. And because I think it's important to, one, reach out to people that I know, two, build new relationships, and three, find ways to work together. Um, whether it is whether it is something we can work together on right now, or whether it's something that we can work on together down the road. I want to be consistent with how we have our partnerships laid out, and and additional projects and things that we can work on along the way that are only going to, because we might get to a situation where, like, okay, we've finished the roadmap. Now what? I want the next thing to be ready to go. I want the next thing that we can work on, or the next partnership that we can grow, to be ready to go. So that way, we're always we're always in constant motion and never reactionary. I want us to be active and, not reactionary. So, um, that's probably more babbling on about kind of how I operate, but, I think it's also important to kind of call those things out, just in terms of, like, the status of where we're at in this space.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And then that's the thing with doing all the stuff, with development and all these sort of things. We're getting changes now, with Web3, and we're all getting forced into that thing now because everyone's doing it. But then you've got your NFTs, and then you've got your music stuff, and your Metaverse gaming, and there's going to be something else that's going to come that hasn't even been sort of built yet. So this space is always building. I did just Google, according to last year's stats of the crypto population, it said it was 3.9%. So I wasn't far off. But so
Yeah, I've been saying 3%, and you said 5%, and I was like, oh, maybe he's got an updated number. So we're going to be at the middle at 3.9, so 3.9%.
yeah, yeah. So it's still a small number of the world population. There's still a new huge growing room, and like you said, like, we I think we are all a bit crazy. I think you've got to be a bit crazy to want to definitely want to run a crypto project, because it is it is like that. You just have a lot of ideas, but you also got to keep pushing forward. It's like a 7-day week thing. It doesn't stop. And then, even if you do sort of tick off your goals and do get to the end of the roadmap, like I said, I think there's always going to be something that's going to come up anyway, something to build. So yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't worry too much about that. Especially, like I said, with all this stuff going on now. I mean, the metaverse stuff is really pushing on too, with the gaming and everything too. So that's just a whole another level. And the VR stuff. And
hmm
we'll get to a world where, I mean, they're already starting to do VR conferences,
yep,
for crypto. Not to mention, they've already done VR like music concerts and stuff. Like, I've seen a couple of tests they did last year. But just the conferences. So, what was it? I think there's another one coming up soon, but there was one similar to kind of like a crypto week kind of thing, but it was just in a virtual lobby, and they did it for a
hmm
couple of days. Um, but yeah, that sort of stuff too, right? So then all of us around the world can kind of jump in with our little 3D avatars and and run around like
yeah,
little idiots, and and have these little virtual booths and stuff.
yeah. That's gonna be. I mean, and that's just a great way to connect all the folks who are, That's how a great way for us to connect. For example, I mean, I'm in Texas, you're in, Australia, but, like, if we had a virtual room that we could kind of go into and, set up a booth, right? That could be something. And they did a little bit of that. I was in Miami for, Miami NFT week, and they had a Metaverse ticket that people can buy and kind of create their avatar and, explore the convention center. Um, so that was kind of neat as well. I think, yeah, we'll probably see a lot more of that too. And the other thing is um, there's going to be a lot of brands and corporations who are going to be coming into the space as well. And that's going to be the one thing that's going to be the kicker for adoption. It's those those trusted brands that are going to come into the space and start pushing items, right? So that's why I really think it's important for us right now to elevate as many legitimate projects as possible, so that there are the standards, right? That people can trust, and it's only going to allow us as the kind of pioneers of the DeFi space to be able to align ourselves with some of those corporations for additional support, or to be consultants to what they're working on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely does. All right, so we're just getting on to the 50-minute mark. So if anyone's got questions, definitely request, because we'll just start to wind up a bit, because I don't like to make these too long, because also people don't end up listening to the whole thing. So
yeah,
when they really play back, they're like, "Oh, why is it an hour long?" But yeah, there's a lot of good information in this. Also, if you are listening to the recording, appreciate you sticking through this time. But there is a lot of good information in there, and I got to figure out how. I might just have to screen record or something, and then just put that up on YouTube later on. Because, like I said earlier at the start, I didn't realize that these kind of get deleted from Twitter after a while.
Yeah,
that's why it's good to have another copy.
I'm gonna have to do a Google how to download a Twitter Space recording, and then maybe there's something.
Oh yeah, there'll definitely be that. Like there's programs too where you can download video clips and stuff too off Twitter. It's like a bot or something, and you like tweet the bot, and then it sends you a link or something. I think it's like video bot or something. Yeah, I can't remember, but something like that.
Yeah. It only comes with like 2 viruses. It's fine. So.
Oh yeah.
It's fine. There's only 2 viruses. One of them's going to be an okay virus. Does anybody have any questions? If anybody wants to, it doesn't even have to be about anything that we talked about. In fact, like if you just have a question that you'd like to ask of someone else in the room, happy to make the space available for that too.
Yep, absolutely. If anyone wants to request, we'll bring you up. We got a few minutes left anyway, so happy for that as well. Like Carlos said, we can ask about anything you want.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, my favorite sport is baseball. I don't think that's is that is that Australia?
Actually, no, baseball's not really a big thing here. We just mostly do like footy, rugby and stuff.
Rugby, yeah.
Yeah, and cricket obviously. But
yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to just go through I guess your website, your socials, and just a quick like wind down kind of spiel again about your project?
Let's do that. So if you want to get more information about DiversiFi and what we're building, please visit us at DiversiFi.app. We are also on Twitter at DiversiFi BSC. We are on Telegram at DiversiFi app. We also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We set up all the socials just to have them, but probably our most active are going to be Twitter and Telegram for right now, until we can kind of build up the community, and then we can kind of explore some other things. But we have content everywhere, Reddit and stock twits and things like that. But I'm also available on Twitter too. It's at Carlo L Garcia. Nothing fancy there. Pretty straightforward. I usually do these spaces with my photo, so people know that I'm a real person. But occasionally I will pop in an NFT PFP because I'm paying Twitter $3 a month so that I can do that. So in terms about DiversiFi itself, I mean, we are all from the community. All of us on this project team have all been investors in other projects. We built this by the community, for the community. We wanted to build a legitimate, solid project that people could trust, with full transparency, with honesty, and with integrity, because we have our faces and our names on it, right? And we are not here. We're not here to scam people. We want to help people. I think that's really important to call out, especially now. I mean, there's still stuff going on. We are a rewards token. We do have transaction fees on buys and sells. it's 14%, but 8% of that goes to the rewards, back to the holders. 3% goes into the liquidity pool, which, in our opinion, the liquidity pool belongs to the holders. And the other 3% goes to marketing, which is for the marketing wallet to be spent on marketing purposes. There's no dev fee. We do have a dev locker that's locked for a year, and that's the kind of small way that we are rewarding ourselves, but it's all performance based, right? So if the project does well, then we're able to collect the rotating rewards for the dev locker, and that's how we can kind of generate some, payment for the work that we're doing. But I'll be honest, any money that we pulled out of the dev locker rewards has gone right back into the project, whether it was for marketing needs or for operational expenses or things like that, because we want to make sure that this is done right and that it continues to grow. But we are a rewards token ecosystem. We released our first token, DiversiFi Blue. That's our blue chip rewards token, and it gives rotating rewards of Bitcoin, Binance Pegged Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon Matic, Polkadot, and Avalanche. And we've got 4 more tokens coming out, as well as our mothership token. There's a lot coming out on our roadmap. We're just entering phase 3. If you look at our roadmap, we're entering phase 3 right now, starting the development cycle for our next token. But yeah, that was probably a lot more of a long-winded answer than you were expecting, Billy. I'm sorry, but
No, that's totally
that's good. I get
good.
to talk, and I'm like, I got to make sure I include everything, right? But yeah, so there's some exciting stuff coming up.
That's easy, mate. We'll do more of these anyway in the future. So I definitely want to try to. I'll have to jump in some of yours, but I've been thinking about doing some as well. Just try and do a weekly thing. Just find the time, right? It's gotta find.
Yeah, just gotta find the time. Find the time where we can match up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love talking about different projects and things like that. And so anytime, just let me know.
Yeah, easy, man, easy. All right, well, we'll start to wrap this up then because it's almost an hour. So, thank you everyone who's come and joined us live today, and thank you for those who are listening to the recording. Really appreciate it. Go check out the guys at DiversiFi. Like I said, you can also get them on BODA Swap, so they're partnered with us and they're listed on our swap. We'll be obviously working together for long term, as you've already heard Carlo say earlier tonight or this morning, wherever you are. That we're aligned in a similar way as well. So it's really good stuff, really good project. Not financial advice, but I think you're going to be pretty early if you get in. They've only just released, so there's a lot to come. They're going to be releasing other tokens as well, which is obviously going to put a bit more buying pressure and increase the ecosystem and probably increase some volume, which will only just increase the rewards. So that's something to think about. But again, always do your own research. But I appreciate everyone tuning in, and I know Carlo, if you got any last words before we end the space tonight.
I just would like to just tell everybody to check out our friends over at BODA Token and use BODA Swap if you're interested in DiversiFi Blue, because they have 0 slippage on buys. So if you don't like slippage, go to BODA Swap to get your DiversiFi Blue. Thank you so much, Billy, for hosting. Appreciate your time. Love talking about the crypto space and the Web3 space. Even if it has nothing to do with us. I enjoy the space, and I want people the opportunity to learn about it, so that we can grow the space the way it should be done. So thank you. Be safe. Protect your wallet. Don't share your seed phrase. Don't click on any suspicious links, and don't send any fake Billies or fake Carlos in Telegram. BNB. We are not going to ask you for that. So be safe out there. We have our own BNB. It's okay. Don't send us any. Be safe out there. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thanks again, everybody.